Welcome back to another episode of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. This week we'll be looking at round 14, the East Rutherford, New Jersey round. A bit of a snoozer, honestly, in both coasts, but we did have the fortunate, we were fortunate that both classes kind of ran within the points order, so that we do now have two very close points races going into next week, and obviously the 2 weeks following. It'll be really interesting looking forward at the East next week in the Pittsburgh round. And then, of course, the 450s with Chase Sexton winning once again and kind of tightening that gap between himself and Cooper Webb going into the final two rounds in Denver and Salt Lake City. So first, of course, let's jump into the 250s. Jumping into 250s, another win by Seth Hamaker. I mean, what do you say? He really looked like the best guy. He made an awesome pass on Nate Thrasher on about the third turn. After getting a really good start, Seth has been the best guy in this class lately. Definitely the Indianapolis showdown kind of turned the tide for him. He's been fast all year, but that win in that showdown where he really ran away with it has really turned him on. The following week in Birmingham, he looked good and had one mistake that took him out of it, but he's been the best guy on this coast week after week. He showed it by finally taking sole possession of the red plate. Obviously, in the last two rounds, he had shared that red plate with both R.J. Hampshire and Tom Bial, but taking a stranglehold on the class now. Really great ride by Seth Hamaker. Look to see big things again from him this weekend. Honestly, I think Seth is probably my favorite here. Two races left on this coast. Obviously, the one in Pittsburgh, and then we'll have the Salt Lake City showdown as the finale. Like I said, I think Seth can bring it home with the way he's been riding and riding the wave of momentum that he has. I think he's the best guy in this coast, and if all things go the way they have been, I think Seth is going to win this thing, which would be really awesome for himself as well as Pro Circuit. Second place, R.J. Hampshire. R.J. did get a good start, made a couple passes, a couple key passes that he needed. Obviously, finishing second to Seth and only losing 3 points. At the end of the day, not a big deal. You want to go into the final round with a winner take all, and of course, if RJ can go and win this week and maybe get those points back, he could really put a damper on Seth Hamaker's momentum. But really good riding again, of course, by RJ Hampshire. Third place, Tom Bial. Tom's kind of fallen his way out of this thing, but he's staying where he needs to be. Obviously, if he's not going to be first or second, with the way the points lie right now, he had to be third, and he made that happen. So really good ride for him to be in third. Again, unfortunate, he just doesn't have the speed of Seth and RJ at the moment, but he is living on his consistency again. The things that he's known for, he's doing really well at that. He did the same thing last year, of course, but he had the 2 wins last year that kind of helped propel him to the championship. Unfortunately, just has not had the speed to run with these guys this year. But again, really consistent. Only down 7. He does have a path to this championship, but it might be hard, with the way that Seth and RJ are riding currently. Fourth place, Cullen Park. Awesome ride by Cullen Park, backing up his second a couple weeks ago. Last week, obviously, in the showdown was not his best ride, but that, showing that he does have speed. Obviously, crossed the line in 5th place. Nate Thrasher was docked a position, so Cullen Park, of course, was afforded this 4th place. But a really good ride by Cullen Park. He made passes into 4th. He didn't have a great start. He was around that 9, 10, 11, 12 range early in the race and did make passes forward to get into that 4th position. So really great for him. 5th place, Nate Thrasher. The return of fast Nate Thrasher. Not sure what the change is week to week. Didn't look great last week, of course. Didn't look great in the mud from memory, of course. But obviously won the Birmingham Triple Crown. And so the anomaly that is Nate Thrasher was really fast this week. He won his heat race. He looked like he could have run away with that main event if Seth Hamaker had not made that early pass on him. So solid ride for Nate Thrasher. He did make one mistake and go down, and I believe lose a position early that put him into 4th. And then obviously getting docked the position into 5th place, but a solid ride there by Nate Thrasher. 6th place, Max Volan, kind of where he belongs in this group, looking at the names under him. Unfortunate, he had a really bad start again, but he did make his way forward, so really good to see that. We have seen some bad starts from Max, and he just kind of stay in a worse position this year, so good for him to make those passes forward. 7th place, Austin Faulkner. Really unfortunate for Faulkner. He was in 5th place for a lot of this race, kind of from start to about 2 minutes left. he must have made a mistake in the closing laps because he lost a pretty decent sized gap. I don't think he faded that much. He had to go down to get passed, of course, by Nate and well, I guess of course by Cullen Park and Max Volan, and then obviously with Nate losing the position, dropped him in a fifth. But yeah, solid ride for Austin Forkner. This is the most that we've seen from him this year. Good to see him back. He had some speed in qualifying, which we're not used to this year. Obviously, the old Austin Forkner is a qualifying god. So really good to see this, and maybe there's some hope after all for Austin Forkner here. Eighth place, Henry Miller. Henry Miller, just like Max Volan and Cullen Park, he made a lot of passes forward. He really had a rough start. I think he was in 15th, actually, early in this race. So really solid for him to race his way into 8th place. Ninth place, Devin Simonson, his first race of the year, aboard the Club MX 250. Great finish for him to finish inside the top 10. Devin Simonson, of course, does have speed, and that Club MX is a great bike. So not surprised to see him in the top 10, but of course, in your first race, kind of anything can happen there. 10th place, Luke Neese. Didn't see much of him, but he looked good on the night. 10th place, finished 7th in his heat. 11th place, Trevor Collip has been a staple in this 250 East class. 12th, Isaiah Clark has also been a staple in this 250 East class. Got in through the LCQ. 13th, Jack Chambers. Kind of expect to see Chambers maybe in front of Neese and Collip and Clark and a couple of these guys. But, you know, other than that, he beat the guys he should have beaten. And a solid 13th there. 14th, Bryce Shelley, the last guy in through the LCQ, so good for him to get a 14th. 15th, Justin Rodbell. 16th, Lance Kobush. 17th, Lane Shaw. Solid ride by Lane Shaw to get in through the LCQ. 18th, Jack Rogers. Truthfully, have never heard of him. Maybe he's been back here before in past years, and I just haven't looked back this far in the pack. But I do believe that is a new name. At least this year, you know, in the finishing points there. So 18th, a solid ride for Jack Rogers and what I believe to be his first main event of the year. 19th, Chandler Baker. I think this is his second or third main of the year, so good finish there for him. 20th, Mark Phineas. We did see him go down. He had a pretty nasty crash. He got up pretty quickly, though, so obviously not hurt, but maybe just put him back a ways. 21st, Michael Hicks. Honestly, didn't see much of him. And 22nd, Chance Hymas, who did have a decently nasty spill. Looked like he was going to get back on the track, and then I believe he pulled off after rolling around for about half a lap. So unfortunate there for Chance Hymas. Looking at the points, as I referenced, Seth Hamaker now has a 3-point lead and finally has sole possession of the red plate. And Tom Vial on RJ Hampshire, of course. And then Tom Vial is 7 points behind in third place going into the final East-only round in Pittsburgh this week. Possibly could get some rain, so that could be interesting to see how things shake up once again. Obviously, the rain was not kind to any of these guys, truthfully. Seth Hamaker got 9th, RJ got 14th, and Tom Vial, of course, got last. Vial was running 4th for much of that race and did have the one mistake that kind of snowballed. So Tom Vial may be the best in the mud if it does come to that. That could be an interesting thing to look out for, you know, going into Pittsburgh next week if we do somehow get a mudder. Looking over at 450s, I mean, Chase Sexton just absolutely dominated, did what he had to do. He is turning the tide on this championship. Probably many, including myself, believe that Coop had kind of already won this thing, being the mental giant that he is, and Chase Sexton being, I don't want to call him a head case. I don't like using that term. I said in the preseason pod that he wasn't a head case. I said a couple of weeks ago that he kind of has proven to me the opposite, and he's kind of getting there, but at this point, man, Chase Sexton looks unbelievable. I'm willing to throw it all out the door at this point. And honestly, if I had money, you know, to bet on this race after next week, I would say if Chase wins again in Pittsburgh, he is the favorite to win this thing. Pittsburgh is going to be the race that kind of changes everything for me. These first two were awesome. He did what he had to do, but Pittsburgh is like Coop's got his butt kicked 2 weeks in a row. We're going to see how he responds. We're going to see how Chase responds. And obviously the result, you know, if things get out of hand, if we see Chase go down or something and Coop get this big point swing, obviously the championship would be over. But I think Coop getting one back on Chase here would be humongous just for his confidence. And just to kind of get that mental edge back over Chase Sexton, who has for the last 2 weeks just been undeniable. He's ridden incredible. It's really awesome to see. I really hope we see this thing come down to Salt Lake City. I would love to see Chase rattle off 4 in a row and get a winner take all. in Salt Lake City. I think that would be an unbelievable race, considering who we have battling here with Chase Sexton and Cooper Webb. Second place, of course, was Cooper Webb. Just him and Chase started out front and rode 1-2 the entire race. Coop, again, unbreakable, just didn't make any mistakes. He just didn't have the speed of Chase Sexton. Obviously, the 2 whoop sections this week was a bit detrimental to Cooper Webb's riding style. Obviously, we're used to him jumping the whoops and not being the best skimmer. Has come around a bit on that this year, and in the past, but he's not at Chase Sexton's level in the whoops, let's be honest. So despite all that, an incredible ride by Cooper Webb. These two had a huge gap on the rest of the field. Chase Sexton won by about 15 seconds. I think Cooper had another 15 seconds on third place in AP. So really just unbelievable riding by both of these guys. Third place was Aaron Plessinger. I mean, what do you say? He has proven himself to be the third best guy in this series. Of course, we've had a number of injuries, but Aaron Plessinger has been so hot lately. He's been unbelievable in his own right. Obviously, just has not been able to get up there with Chase and Coop, who have just been dominating this thing lately. But AP is really, really proving himself as the class of the rest of the field. So really great ride. And awesome to see from AP, who we know now has kind of re-signed with KTM for next year. So looks like his career is in a good spot early in the year. I don't know that you would have said that. So really good riding by him. Fourth place, Jay Coop. Jay Coop's right there with AP. He hasn't had the podiums week in and week out like AP has, but he's had some great rides and proven himself with some speed. He was a fast qualifier on the day. He gave Cooper Webb all he could handle in the heat race as well. So Jay Coop hanging in there, was only a few seconds off of AP for third, but really just didn't have much for him. That's all. AP battled with Barsha a lot, so may have been getting held up for a lot of the race, honestly. I guess we'll never know. It was late when Barsha went down, of course. Fifth place, Dylan Ferrandis. A really solid ride by Ferrandis. He's really come on strong as well late in the season. We know that he got some parts from HRC, and he's really happy with the bike right now. So that's really, coming around. It's really good to see those parts kind of coming to fruition. A lot of times these guys say that they've changed something on the bike and they feel better, and the results don't reflect that. Ferrandis has honestly, for the last 4 or 5 races, since he's made that declaration that he did get some new parts and feels good on the bike, he's really showed that in his results, so that's really great. Sixth place, Malcolm Stewart. I didn't see much of Mookie on the night. I think he started down in around 10th and made some passes up to 6th, so solid ride by Malcolm. Malcolm, they did announce this week that he has a documentary movie coming out on ESPN Plus on April 27th, so that'll be awesome to see. Kind of taking his journey, I believe, from 2022 after he finished third in the series into, I'm hoping this year at Tampa when he got that win. That would be really cool to see. So looking forward to watching that here on April 27th. I guess this week, actually. Seventh place, Ken Roxon. We didn't see much of Kenny on the night. He looked good in the heat race, but just didn't have it in the main event. Unfortunate ride for him. We know he's injured, so really just didn't get the start and didn't make many passes. Eighth place, Shane McElrath. What do you say about Shane? Another week starting in the top 3 and kind of fading back. We are more used to him fading around the 10, 11, 12 range, so solid for him to finish up in 8th, just not where he wants to be. He definitely has proven, that he has the starts. He just doesn't kind of have the speed to stay up there at this point to run with these other guys, but a solid ride for him aboard that quad lock Honda. Ninth place, Dean Wilson. Awesome to get to see Dean inside the top 10. A lot of people after last week's 17th were kind of worried. Obviously, he had some arm pump that he talked about and just didn't feel prepared last week for the conditions, but a 9th place is a really good way to back it up. I believe he only had 1 or 2 top 10s at the end of last season. He hung around that 12 range all season and then finally broke through to the top 10 late in the year. So really good to see Dino finish inside that top 10 so quick aboard this HRC Honda. 10th place, Justin Hill. Didn't see much of it, but apparently Hill and Dino were in a battle the entire night, so really good for Dino to kind of hold him off. And Justin Hill has been a pretty consistent 10th place guy this year. Obviously, he's had a couple ups and downs here, but has been pretty solid in the 10th place spot, so really good to see that from Justin Hill. 11th place, Joey Savacci. I do believe he was riding closer to 8th and battling and trying to go after Ken Roxon, if I remember correctly. So unfortunate for him to get 11th, but a solid finish nonetheless, and he did kind of show some stuff out there, kind of that he does have the speed to run with those guys. Obviously, after last week's 5th place, 11th isn't where he wants to be, but kind of working on some things, so look good, most of the night nonetheless. 12th place, Christian Craig, his best finish yet. He's got to be feeling it out there, but hopefully he can crack this top 10 soon. That would really be big for Christian Craig. 13th, Colt Nichols, about where he's been all year. I didn't see much of him. Hasn't been getting good starts, but 13th, he's kind of just proven that's where he belongs. 14th, Mitchell Harrison, solid ride by Mitchell. 15th, Mitchell Oldenburg. Not the best ride for Mitch that we've seen. We've seen him inside that top 10 this year. So unfortunate to get 15th. I wonder if he went down at some point. 16th, Kyle Chisholm. He lives in the 16 to 18 range. 17th, Freddie Noren, kind of the same as Chiz. 18th, Justin Barcher. Really unfortunate. He rode a really good race in third place for almost the entirety of the race, and then had a big one with about 3 or 4 minutes left. Looked to kind of be rolling around. He lost his front number plate. All kinds of things happened there at the end of the race for Barcia. So really unfortunate to see. He had been riding better. Obviously has not been able to crack that top 3 yet this year. Would be very odd to see a year without a podium for Justin Barcia. So really hope to see him up there soon. 19th place, Benny Bloss. Assuming Benny went down at some point. We've seen him in 19th or 19th, 20th kind of a few times this year, but that's not where he belongs based on speed. Obviously, something has always happened when he's put himself back in that position. 20th, Tristan Lane. 21st, Jeremy Han, and 22nd, Grant Harlan, who did not finish the race. Looking over at the points, of course, we discussed this. Cooper Webb now has a 9-points lead on Chase Sexton. Sexton, obviously, the easiest way for him to get this would be to win out the next 3 races. Of course, there are other ways for him to gain these 9 points on Cooper Webb, but as good as Webb's been and as good as Chase has been, it seems like the most likely outcome for these two is going to be to finish up front for the rest of the year. 3 more wins in a row would solidify Chase Sexton's career. We've seen a lot of Chase, quote unquote, getting lucky into his championships. We saw it twice in the 250 class. We saw it in the outdoor championship with Jet getting hurt. We saw it in the Supercross championship a few years back with Eli getting hurt and Cooper Webb going out. So would really love to see Chase Sexton kind of put a stamp on his career, especially he's only 24, 25. He has a long career to go, but would be really cool to see him kind of prove that he is the best guy. Whether Jet and Eli are out there or not, doesn't matter. If you can beat Cooper Webb, especially at a head game 1-1 like this with a 15-point deficit with 5 rounds left, that would be incredible. So down to 9. Let's see what Chase can do. We did, of course, have the injury this week with Jerry Robin. Has been paralyzed from the belly button down. Really unfortunate part of our sport. Just really upsetting to hear. Jerry Robin had been riding so good this year. We know, of course, that he had planned to retire this year and kind of came back last minute and was riding kind of loose, no pressure, and that's kind of what he has said has led to his being faster, being better this year, honestly. So really unfortunate to see him have this injury. Hope the best for him. Jerry's really good. Obviously a name we all know, lately, a guy who had some spectacular crashes throughout his career, stayed relatively healthy, but unfortunate now with kind of a bit of a spin out off a 3-footer and just kind of did a head dive. Unfortunately led to, him being paralyzed for the time being. So hope again that he can get through that. It's really unfortunate. With that being said, that's all I got this week. If you guys want to follow us, X, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Not Another Moto Pod, that would be super helpful. Thanks.